Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Psycho 2, starring Anthony Perkins, Vera Miles, Meg Tilly, Robert Loggia, and Dennis Franz, and directed by Richard Franklin. Let's just get straight into this, shall we? Because I wasn't alive when this movie came out in theaters, so let's move on. We opened the shower scene with the shower scene from the last movie where Marion gets stabbed by Norman Bates, returned by Anthony Perkins, disguised as mother. And I thought, why recap from the original and we move on to Lila Crane Loomis, returned by Vera Miles, having a violent reaction of Norman's release after 22 years. And why make a sequel to a classic is beyond me. Norman returns home and has visions of Mother, which is not scary but suspenseful. It's not suspenseful either, might I add. But Norman works at the diner and meets Mary, played by Meg Tilly, who's Jennifer Tilly's sister, and her boyfriend Scott, surprisingly there, dumps her and spends the night at Norman's motel, but it's ran by an amateur of a manager, and she goes to the house, and these scenes I like the characters kind of. But anyways, Norman is afraid to pick up a knife because of his past, and I like that as a conflict throughout the movie, and as a character arc, I also like that Norman wants to have a relationship with Mary, and not like a lovey-dovey kind of way, but as a friend. The amateur manager is tormenting Norman and Mary at the diner, and Norman reacted to the asshole, and at night, Mary was going to live with the girlfriend until she makes love with her boyfriend in a noisy kind of way and moves back in with Norman, and she takes a shower, and Norman peeks through the wall like a creep, and it almost reminded me of the original where he peeks through the wall, and the amateur asshole comes back to the motel and tries to burn the motel down until Norman, disguised as mother, kills the lunatic. And next morning, Mary finds out Norman is a creep, and these scenes are working for me, kind of. Norman says to Mary it's happening again, and he's talking about the murders by his mother, and Lila comes to talk to her daughter, Mary, who's her son and Sam Loomis' daughter, about how dangerous Norman is. Meanwhile, Norman sees blood in the toilet, and I enjoy where the movie is going as far as the plot goes. Mary goes to Lila, and as Mary is led to believe she's tormenting Norman to kill again, as she wants Mary to spy on Norman, as she gets a phone call from Mother, and it's how Norman is a psycho again. Lila gets in the basement, and Norman, as a mother, kills her with a knife, and her mother, which looked a hell of a lot like makeup, as I'm having an okay time with the movie, but at best, while Norman and Mary are being investigated, and Mary thinks Norman's getting arrested, and Dr. Raymond, the psychiatrist, calls Norman as he's led to believe it's Mother, and Mary dresses up like Mother to trick him, and Dr. Raymond is killed by Mary, and she stabs Norman multiple times as they go to the basement, and Mary gets shot by the cops and lets Norman go scot-free. And I thought, oh shit, how the fuck did the cops let that happen? But as a climax, it was rather shocking. So yeah, that's my opinion, so let's get to the rating. I'll give this movie a 5.8 out of 10. I kind of like the characters, but I thought, what the fuck was the point of making a sequel to a classic? I do like Norman's arc and conflict, but it was an okay time at the movies. I didn't have a bad time, nor did I have a great time. I had an okay time at best. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I will be back with Psycho 3, and until next time, beep, beep, beep.